And in each of these cases on different events, she scratched them. Let's say one about the face, scratching in the face, and the other was causing bodily injury by striking the lady about the head. And you make a mistake, you'll be back before me and you'll be looking at up to life imprisonment. You weren't following you weren't reporting. We know that. And you weren't doing your community service. But everything else, you're doing fine, you think?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
All right. What about the theft conviction in November?
Yeah.
Did you forget to tell me about that? Stealing?
Yes, sir.
Did you forget that?
No, sir, it wasn't brought up. I would.
It wasn't brought up. Good luck with that answer.
Today, we have two cases that highlight the diverse challenges that come before Judge Stevens' bench. In our first case, we have an unexpected twist as we encounter an elderly lady who, at first glance, may appear harmless. However, looks can be deceiving, as this woman stands accused of being a habitual felon, allegedly involved in an altercation with emergency medical personnel. Judge Stevens, self-admittably, has a soft spot for people who work in particularly difficult occupations such as EMS. Given the defendant's age, will he be able to find a resolution that upholds both justice and compassion? Stay tuned to witness the outcome. Moving on to our second case, we have a defendant facing multiple probation violations, but he seems to be under the impression that he can slip through the cracks and not mention the most serious allegations, and that the courts and Judge Stevens will just forget about it, just because the defendant didn't bring it up. Boy, is he in for a surprise today.
Diane Rubin.
We got to plea on that, and it's.
We need Diane Rubin, please.
Right there.
Just need a swear her in and her.
There are two cases. All right. I'm looking at this and I'm not sure I want to take this deal, as it were. I'm thinking more about placing the lady on deferred or unadjudicated probation as an habitual felon, like she is. And because I see two emergency personnel who get the job because they're very selfless in what they have to. They save people's lives, help people. And in each of these cases on different events, she scratched them. Let's say one about the face, scratching in the face, and the other was causing bodily injury by striking the lady about the head. I want her to know that she's going to be on supervision, under my supervision. And you make a mistake, you'll be back before me and you'll be looking at up to life imprisonment. I'm not going to tolerate you harming emergency personnel, because it's hard enough for these people to get these jobs and take them. And if we didn't have people on the ambulances to save people's lives, we would be in a terrible way. People like you make them not want to do the job. And that is a danger to all of us. So I will.
And Your Honor, just with that, I spoke with the victims and they did not want her to receive probation. They asked for me to give her pen time, and that's the reason for the
I'm
pen
not
time.
taking that. She's looking at 25 to life.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to take 7 years.
Okay.
That's no. But how long has she been in jail now? I mean, at 7 years with
Almost
Almost a year.
a third degree felony like that. I mean, she's almost eligible for parole.
Yes,
So it's not doing them any good. It's what's doing them good is to know that she would be looking at life in prison if she didn't conduct herself in a lawful and ladylike fashion while on this court's watch.
Your Honor, the other issue is. Go ahead.
Can you say something? When I did that, I thought you was trying to hurt me. That's why.
I don't know that, but the Dr. Ed Grapan, who analyzed you, says that you are
Yes, there was
competent
an
to
issue
stand
on
trial.
that, but, there is some issues, Your Honor, on the prior. She's not agreed to some of the prior. She's claiming that it is somebody else's. There's this confusion. So I guess my point is, if we
No,
can
the
send it for
point-
me
the
to
point of
me
that
and
is
Mr.
these
Boyd
are-
to confirm that to
Hey,
make sure.
these are all district courts of Jefferson County.
I know,
That's easy to,
That's what I'm
easy
saying.
enough to prove or disprove.
That's what I'm saying. We can get and verify that. But if you give some time, me and Mr. Boyd will work on that and get that proven. Which
We got
I
2 weeks.
expect that. That's fine. Yeah. Yes, 2 weeks, Your Honor. That's,
Okay.
yes, I will be out next week, but.
Okay. Thank you. Are you Christopher Ryan Cormier?
Yes, Your Honor.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any statements you make during this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Lower your hand. You were here with Mr. Adams, your attorney, and the state's attorney. There's a motion to revoke unadjudicated probation that's been filed as of January 3rd of 24. Does the defendant waive a formal reading of this? Can we proceed in summary?
Yes.
We obviously have to clean up a mistake here. In summary, this motion to revoke probation alleges that on July 17th, 2023, in this criminal district court, you were placed on 5 years deferred or unadjudicated probation for forgery of a financial instrument. I'm sure that's instrument.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection to changing that to correct it? All right. All right. Is all of that true so far, sir?
It is, Your Honor.
Number one states you failed to report to the probation office for the months of September, October, November, December 2023 in violation of your probation order. Is that true or untrue?
That is true, Your Honor.
2, you failed to never become intoxicated or be under the influence of intoxicating substances on or about August 14th, 23. You admitted to using in violation of your probation order. Is that true?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And failing, it states you failed to perform community service hours as required. Did he perform any, ma'am? No. Is that true or untrue, that you failed to perform any community service hours as required of you on your probation? And that was to begin on or about July 17th of 2023.
Your Honor, it is true. Because I did not report, I did not get the location or what to do.
But it's not,
But it is true.
it's your fault, not.
It is, absolutely.
Okay. Are you pleading? Your deferred or unadjudicated probation can be revoked. You can be sentenced to no less than 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail, right? The state jail?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yes,
Knowing
Your Honor.
that, do you insist on pleading true today?
I'm sorry.
Do you insist on pleading true to these allegations?
Yes, Your Honor.
I find you are pleading true voluntarily.
And he wants to tell you in his
What?
own words why he was not able
Okay.
to report,
Go ahead.
right?
Let's go.
So with you being in that financial situation that you was in, can you kind of tell us what happened when you got on this probation?
I mean, I had a camp behind Home Depot in the woods.
Okay.
No income, no job. That has since been over
What Home Depot were you at?
off of Lucas.
So this is in Beaumont.
Oh, I'm sorry, Concord and the freeway there. It's in Beaumont.
Okay, so at the time you got on this probation, you was living in that camp, right?
Correct.
And while living in that camp, you were not working.
Correct.
So that means for your ability to pay, did you have any access to any resources to pay?
No, sir, didn't.
And you had any property that could be sold?
No.
So on the 34, or you violation condition 34, you had no possible way of paying, right?
That's
No,
not,
correct.
that's not an issue. That's not an issue. He didn't admit to that.
Well,
And I don't punish anybody for inability to pay. Let's go on to what we're really here for.
okay.
It's failure to appear,
Well,
using drugs, and not doing community service. Failing to show up for probation.
your inability to pay would also go to those other three as well, because on the failure to report, you were at the homeless camp by the Home Depot.
Correct.
And that Home Depot, would that be on, I guess, I-10?
Yes, Mosquito Road.
On Federal Road. And then were you required to physically report at the probation department?
Correct, yes.
And being on that probation department, how far was the probation department from that Home Depot?
Here in downtown from there, I would say at least 10 miles.
At least 10 miles. And did you have any transportation to get you there to be able to report?
Not even a bicycle. No.
So are you saying that would have been a significant danger to your health and your body to try to walk on that I-10 interstate?
Yes, sir, that'd be true.
All right. And then on the failure to report your community service, if you don't have a bicycle, if you're living homeless in a homeless camp behind the Home Depot, what was the community service that you were asked to do?
Wasn't able to get to report, so I don't know what it would have been.
Okay, so with that being the case, you didn't know what the community service was because you weren't able to report.
That would be correct.
Now, on the admitted to the drug use, from the very top, is this something that you purchased or something that you were given?
Something I was given. I had no money, no income, and what I did have, I was more food to survive.
Right. So this relapse that you had on using that was not paid for by you, but did that go to your drug problem?
Absolutely.
So are you saying with you being homeless, being poor, having a drug problem, not having any money, not having a bicycle, not having anybody that can help you, family, friends, or otherwise, are you asking that the court give you one more shot at probation?
That would be great because I now have a job.
So what you're saying now is that your circumstances at the time,
Address.
right? Your circumstances then, when you're living homeless in a homeless camp with no money, no nothing, that circumstance from then to today has changed, right?
Yes, it has.
So tell us specifically how that circumstance has now changed.
I've got a construction job where I work Monday through Friday, and I have access to a vehicle at the home where I stay at. So I have a ride guaranteed, verbalized while I was in jail as well, that I can get to it from my meetings and do right.
Are you still living in that homeless camp? Well, not obviously you're not in
No.
jail, but what I'm saying is that if you were released,
I have an address.
you have an address to go to. And what will that address be again?
4444 Harding.
And that's a physical home.
Yes, it is.
Now, and then when you said you also have that job, right?
I do.
And you say you do construction?
Yes, I do. Handyman, construction work, painting houses, finishing houses, stuff like that.
And who would be your employer?
I do by the name of Mike Frost.
So basically what you're saying is that the probation department, the judge continues you on probation. They could call Mr. Mike right now and he would say, hey, Christopher Ryan Cormier has a job for me right now and he will be able to work. That's something they can pick up the phone and verify.
Yes, it is.
So you'll have a job, you'll have a place to stay. And with that, the other issue was you said that the transportation would be able to report.
And the individual who owns the home I stay with has offered to get me to and from my meetings to be able to report.
Okay. So then I guess here's my last question is what happened from then to now? And what I mean by that is then you were living in a homeless camp, you didn't have a bike, didn't have transportation, you didn't have nothing. And then now we're in court, you have a job, you will have a place to stay, and you have transportation. How were you able to get that?
Simply summed up, I was down on my luck at the time, and
You said a what now?
I was down on my luck. at
You
the
down
time,
on your luck? Okay, go ahead.
and I got an opportunity to work. If you look at my resume, I've got a hell of a resume. Oh, excuse my friend.
Heck
Sorry, heck of a resume.
of a resume, right? And that heck of a resume, just a short version of it is what?
When did you get the opportunity to get employed? When did that happen?
About 2 months ago.
About what then?
It was towards the end of the month, towards the end of December.
Right.
Absolutely.
So are you saying that when we look at balancing the scales, you admitting you're down on your luck, but that if you're given the chance, if we look at where you were and look at where you are, you come a long way.
Absolutely.
And in coming a long way, you asking for a little mercy, right?
Yes, I am.
Right? Because everybody in their lives have some trouble, some hills, some mountains to climb. And in this case, you climbed a pretty big, tall mountain to get from where you were to where you are.
Sure.
And that's good. That's positive.
Is there anything else you want to add that would be important on his probation, you think, on his performance while on probation? Anything at all?
But how?
I now have the means I can get to the meetings to report. I have the ability to pay.
No, anything at all.
About how he's been doing?
Yeah, anything at all.
I guess if I'm understanding that question, as far as how you were doing on probation, while you were living in that tent with no transportation and no running water and no running lights, how were you doing at that time leading up to now?
Very poorly versus getting back on my feet and back to what my life has been.
So in terms of how you were doing, I'm trying to answer the question of how you were doing while you were on.
Otherwise, were you doing fine?
Health wise,
I'm talking about you weren't following you weren't reporting. We know that. And you weren't doing your community service, but everything else you're doing fine, you think?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
All right. What about the theft conviction in November?
Yeah.
Did you forget to tell me about that? Stealing from Home Depot and you got convicted? You did 30 days in November.
Yes, sir.
Did you forget that?
No, sir, it wasn't brought up. I would.
It wasn't brought up. Good luck with that answer. You don't think that's an elephant in this room?
Surely it is. Yes, sir.
You think we were just going to be stupid and
Absolutely.
forget about it?
No,
And
sir.
I gave you a fair opportunity for the last 20 minutes to bring it up. All right. But you were convicted. You're on my probation. You're stealing from Home Depot, about $200 worth of stuff. And you did 30 days in county jail
Yes, sir, I did.
while on this court's probation, much less the other violations you committed. And you don't want to be straight with me. I gave you that opportunity. Anything else? I already stretched it out along to give you the hint. There's got to be something else. But you just didn't feel like you were honest enough to tell.
That's not the case, sir. I didn't think about it. And I figured that-
It's 30 days in jail slipped your mind?
No, sir, it did not.
All right.
In the legal proceedings, I didn't know where we were at, or if that was going to be.
Okay. Go ahead.
Your Honor, again, as you know, the defendant was
What are you
only,
asking for?
18 months state jail.
What are you asking for?
He was continue or put him on straight probation since it was deferred. You can do straight.
Anything else you want to answer?
No, sir.
All right, if not, I'm going to find you have pleaded true to allegations 1, 2, and 3 in this motion to revoke probation voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently. That is sufficient to grant this motion to revoke probation by a preponderance of the evidence or greater. And your deferred or unadjudicated probation is hereby revoked. Earlier in this case, you pleaded guilty voluntarily to the state jail felony. You were mentally competent to do so. You understood and appreciated the consequences of pleading guilty. There was sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of this state jail felony of forgery. And you were hereby sentenced to confinement in the state jail for 18 months. You will be given credit for all time you have served in relevance to this case. You were put on probation for dishonesty. You committed an act of dishonesty, and you were dishonest in front of me. My recommendation, I would urge you to find honesty in your character and start using that. That is Tydrick Davis. Come on up. Tydrick Davis.
All comments, viewpoints, interpretations, and insights expressed in this video are for education and entertainment purposes. All individuals featured in the video are to be presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Please do not attempt to contact, locate, or engage with any individuals featured in the video.